Welcome back, everyone. I'm Theodore Restior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 9. Alright, another tweak to the box. I went ahead and dropped Frozen Seal and Plorada and Lycoris. There's no question that Frozen Seal is like one of the best healers and very, very good against the whole AoE debuff meta. But unfortunately, that pretty much just makes her. She ends up in two situations. She's either going to be against an opponent that doesn't use AoEs and is more focused on just one-shot kills with assassins or just heavy hitters, in which case most of her kit's kind of not that useful, besides like Miracle or whatever. Or my opponent is all about the debuffs and all that good stuff, and the first thing they'll ban is my Frozen Seal. So essentially, she's just at best she's ban bait, and that's about it. The other reason I went ahead and swapped her out is she does provide a faction buff, but it's Empire, and pretty much majority of my Empire can either buff, or essentially can buff themselves, or are faction buffers themselves. So I went ahead and swapped her out for Lycoris. Lycoris, of course, has a little bit more flexibility. It's that situation where you have a healer that can also do something else. So if I ever get into a situation where I'm stacked with a bunch of healers as my last picks, I can at least get, Lycoris and make her into an AoE if I need to. The other reason is she does have a dark faction buff, which goes well with Pyrotes and Zerda, and it also goes with Kyura. So it works a little bit better than the Empire faction buff. Now I seem to be just floating at the same score in Silver 1 these past few weeks. I lost twice prior to this match. The sum of it was my assassins coming up short on kills. Cherry's actually a little difficult to assassinate because since she's holy, she can equip the helmet that will heal her after getting hit with the fixed damage from Twilight Star. In which case, that'll max her out again, and then she, of course, if she has last rites, then she'll just negate a bunch of the damage. And one thing I keep forgetting about Pyrotes is her 3C that bypasses guard is also 3 range, and I keep thinking it's 2 range, which I need to take better consideration in. The other thing, on one of my other losses, Toa, a faction buff Toa, one-shotted my Marielle even when she was in heal mode. So the damage reduction and even having Amazon Champion Spears did not save her. I was pretty surprised about that. Anyway, as for my opponent, we got Golem here. I'm kind of happy about this box because it has a lot of faces I usually don't see, which is nice. There's no Wetham, no Hilda. Heck, there's not even Ares. So with that in mind, I was like, well, Bernhardt's kind of annoying, and his faction buff's really annoying, so I go ahead and banned him first. As for the box itself, it's a little bit of everything. It's definitely very tank heavy. 1, 2, 3 main tanks. Bernhardt can be a physical tank if he needs to be. And then kind of a mix of Act Against, AoE, and just raw magic damage, which is pretty good, decent. So my opponent opened by banning my Sherry. Picks Kyura as the opener, so okay. Definitely was torn on like what direction I wanted to go in. One of my losses was from just a Bozel, essentially just soloing my entire army. Just spams that freaking 3C over and over again. And unfortunately, I get hit with. And one thing I keep forgetting about Sissy White is since I have the plushie on her, she's not immune to silence, and that definitely wrecked me. Anyway, so I went ahead and banned both the Dark Faction buffers and their AoE. They do have an SP Lana, which is also Dark Faction, so I also took that into consideration. Went ahead and took my Hilda. They start going after some of my casters long range. They take Lucretia. It's been a while since I've gone up against a Lucretia. I went ahead and banned Frozen Seal because Frozen Seal can buff Lucretia, as can Christiane here. So if she wants to get if either of these characters want to get buffs, they're gonna have to do it themselves through Gossipal or through Mass Attack. So I take not young, Tensei Jessica, She's generally pretty flexible. She provides passive healing, she can teleport, and she can do strengthen. They start going after some more of my long legs and some of my assassins. They take Yulia. Again, another face we don't see too often. This Yulia is actually sword class and not holy. I go ahead and ban the rest of their tanks at this point because I banned Christiane. I already banned Bernhardt earlier, so their remaining tanks didn't get picked. So I went and banned them completely. They're also faction buffers, so all the better. Went ahead and took Zerida. So I think this is the first match in a while since that I've used Zerida in an Apex match. I start banning my healers at this point. I still have both my healers. I still have 2 healers to spare if I need them. They went ahead and took SP Elwyn. At this point, I went ahead and got rid of one of their I primarily got rid of their Act Again, Gospel, and got rid of their Teleport and Strengthen. So if they want any sort of buffs, they're going to have to either get it from Florentia's Mass Attack, or they have to get it from Lucretia's Mass Attack, or they have to get it from Kaira's Gospel. Elwyn can buff Yulia and himself with his faction buff, so that's kind of the general gist of it. Went ahead and took Marielle. I mean, at this point, I had kind of some flexibility. I was kind of torn whether or not I wanted to take Lycoris or Marielle first. I went ahead and just took Marielle. Because either way, I was going to have another long-range assassin if I needed it. They went with SP Lana, which I think this is the first time I've ever gone up against an SP Lana, ever. I haven't even encountered her in World Arena yet. And instead of taking Pyrotes for another attacker, I went ahead and took Lycoris just in case I need some extra healing to deal with the AoE. And if necessary, I can also use her as AoE debuff, because my opponent doesn't actually have any primary healers. In fact, the only person that can actually cleanse anything off their army is Kaira's passive. Or not passive, but essentially her 3C. Which she does have Starshine. So yeah, she can do Star Slash, teleport back, heal everyone, and remove 3 debuffs. But other than that, no one can really get rid of debuffs here. Alright, so Lucretia did bring Mass Attack. Went Free Strike and 3C. Pretty standard kit there. Elwyn went... I guess he doesn't have... I don't know if his 3C is out or not. I think it is, but I can't say for certain. But in any case, this is a standard kit for Elwyn. Faction buff with Reign of Glory and Sword Soul. Yulia, standard 3C with Godly Menace and Faith. And then... Oh, I guess something to note is the Unicorns, which is not too big of a deal. Lucretia did bring Free Strike, though, so that can definitely counter the spears I have. Lana did bring Redeemers, which is the troop she got access to through her SP class, and she brought her Elemental Echo with her standard 2 AoEs. For those who are not familiar with SP Lana, because most people don't take her, her damage increases by 7% for every buff, which is actually kind of bothersome because she doesn't actually have a lot of buffs available to her. She's going to get 2 buffs from Mass Attack, and that's about it. She might get something passive if someone has like a Tenyu headdress or equivalent. Her AoE skill span in range will go up by 1 when using melee soldiers, which Redeemers are melee soldiers. So now all of her AoEs, her Black Hole has 4 range, and her and has 5 span, which is that's huge. And her Heaven Sanction has 1 range instead of just self, and has 6 span. So essentially right now, if she goes to here, does Heaven Sanction, she can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to here. So, heck of a range. The other effect she has is if she's using a ranged soldier instead, she gets +1 range when using a range skill that requires you to enter battle. So essentially your single target skills. So it kind of split her kit a little bit. And it's a little annoying that she has to have buffs to get her plus damage now. But her main gimmick is that her passive skill that she can get that costs 1 is essentially like a random clock on all of her skills. All of her skills will have reduced cooldown by 1 to 5 turns. So it's possible that she can just do back-to-back Black Holes and Heaven Sanctions if she needs to. Anyway, Kaira sorceresses, Star Slash, Gospel, Starshine. Nothing too out there. I think she's 6 stars, but I'm not sure. Everyone else, I think, is 6 stars. I'm fairly yeah. I know Yulia is 6 stars. Lucretia, I think, is 5 stars because I'm 22% is a weird number there, and I'm pretty sure SP Lana is 6 stars. Anyway, for my kit, standard kit with Marielle, but if she's in heal mode for now. Zerda, I was tempted to not bring a faction buff and just go with Zerda's faction buff. Or not Zerda's, but Lycoris's faction buff. But instead I went ahead and stuck with Obliterate and Backstab and all that good stuff. She has Hellfire Archers. Instead, Lycoris, I switched to offense mode, which I don't use very often. So she has her Transformation and then her standard 2 AoEs. My Lycoris does not have Clock, but she does have her exclusive helmet, which will help reduce cooldowns. Hilda, standard kit, Crystal Molders, and then Light of Genesis, I didn't bring Strength in, I went Holy Light, just in case to get some passive healing. Alright, so it's going to be kind of a race to kill their stuff before they kill mine. I have a tank that can help a little bit, but that's about it. Now the biggest weakness for Zerda, especially when she brings her own faction buff, is she needs 2 turns to actually get warmed up. To be honest, she doesn't actually need 2 turns. I mean, Heart of Alizar is really useful, but since there's no tanks, I can just attack normally and probably kill some of these units. And since most of these units are not even holy, yeah, even Lucretia here, this is Mage Lucretia, it's not even holy. Her Hellfire Archers can actually do damage if I just attack normally. In any case, for right now I'm falling back just to kind of see what my opponent does. They don't have any act against, but they do have high mobility potential. So they're definitely pushing in aggressively. I'm kind of waiting and seeing. I do have a teleport, so I can make use of that. There's the faction buff there. I was definitely torn on what order to do things. I went ahead and decided to be really aggressive here. I wasn't exactly sure what my opponent was going to move first, and after having Toa one-shot my Marielle, I wasn't confident that I was going to be able to survive a hit from Kyura or Lucretia. I assumed the Kyura had 4 range. If she only had 3 range with her 3C, I could have maybe been a bit more efficient with how I do my turn order here. But I played it safe. In this battle, if I had lost, I would have D-ranked, so I didn't exactly want to D-rank. Anyway, Gossipable. So at this point, I went ahead and teleported. Unfortunately, the only place I can teleport from was next to somebody, so I didn't really want to do the act again, but I had to. If I had done it here, I wouldn't have gotten the act again, but I would have been hit by Elwyn. Elwyn was within range to wreck me there. So I burned through most of my buffs here. Alright, here's the mass attack. So something to note about Redeemers. Redeemers do provide a self-res if you get killed while you don't have any debuffs. Marielle can provide a debuff using Amazon Champions. It's a 75% chance. The other thing to note about Redeemers is they have a flat damage reduction. They reduce damage by 20%. If they're at full life, that's another, I think, 30%. So that's just 50% damage reduction if you hit one at full life. Which, on top of the 50 damage reduction I already have, because I'm in commandment mode, that would be essentially 0 damage. Or, in this case, I guess 40. So, got rid of her buffs, hit the debuff, got the Daybreak. So I'm doing 30% damage right now. And it shows. As you can see, I didn't really do that much damage. Alright. Okay. No, correction, I wasn't doing 30% damage. I did 10% damage. So like I mentioned, I did break the holy skill, so there was no 30% there, but there was 20% here, the 50% for commandment, and I got, out of the random debuffs that I got from Lana's exclusive armor, I got the damage reduction one, which sucks. At least it didn't get rid of my attack buff. So I was actually kind of shocked. I think if I had been able to do another 20% damage, it might have had a chance of killing, but it wasn't guaranteed. The other thing I was split on was whether or not I wanted to go after Kyura first or Elwyn. Originally I was thinking killing Elwyn because obviously he can't self-res right now because he's too close to allies. But since there's a Poppet on the board, Kyura would still get her mobility buff because there's 5 units on the board. So, and she can guard bypass. I can tank Elwyn at this point. So I go after Kyura, break sorceresses with the Twilight Star, and got the kill, even with the 20% damage reduction. And got rid of some of Yulia's buffs in the process. Unfortunately, it wasn't the attack buff. So even against spears, yeah, just smashes. It almost was a trade, which was pretty hilarious. Alright, so at this point, I'm kind of just repositioning, just trying to get my guard range up so I can kind of try to get closer. And again, just to put it in perspective for Lana here, if she goes here, does Heaven Sanction here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now she can hit half my party. So the key thing here, a key thing here I guess is Lucretia moved up and moved the Golem back. It's actually too far away. Golem only provides a self-res to Lucretia if it's within 3 spaces. This is 4 spaces. So right now Lucretia can be killed. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone that's actually in range to attack, unfortunately. So what I did is I actually shifted down and prepared to do a assassination here. So I 3C. This puts me exactly within range of Lucretia. And I kind of had to do it this way. I'm trying to think here. Oh, yeah, I had to do it this way. Since Lucretia is right here, she actually puts a danger zone here, which means if I moved here and did my 3C, I wouldn't get hide and seek. So I had to do it here. I could have maybe gone a little bit lower and adjusted from that, but yeah, essentially my goal was to put threat on Lucretia, which Heaven Sanction, it's not going to do enough to kill. Elemental Echo. So at this point I went ahead and just did 3C, spread some terrain. The key thing here was to put debuffs on Lana so she can't self-res. It looks like the Elemental Echo only did 1, so Heaven Sanction doesn't really matter at this point. But it doesn't matter either way. She's just going to do Black Hole next, and that's going to debuff me to hell. Alright, so at this point I went ahead and I did not want Lana to hit me with Dark Hole, so I went ahead and moved in and got the kill. I don't have the extended range staff, so unfortunately I have to be outside guard range. Now I was definitely curious to see what my opponent was going to do. Because you could, I think she could have gotten killed with Lucretia. But yeah. Sword Soul, there was no way to survive it, even with the, it peeled away everything. So one thing I did prior to this fight was I actually did some new enchants on my Hilda's weapon. Originally, Hilda's weapon didn't actually have any attack bonus to it. It only provided health and defense. Now it actually provides plus 14% attack. It did lower her defenses and HP a little bit, but while she's faction buff, or while she's has enough buff, she does get part of her attack added to her defense and M defense anyway. So with that, I was Spears versus Cav, in which case I was actually able to kill Elwyn and take away his life, which means I can now kill him with anyone, which is really helpful. Did get hit with Impure Shockwave, negated the crit. Yeah. So Crystal Molders, I had Thorns proc, so it did kill. And since it was outside the Golem's range, it actually ended up killing Lucretia at that point. Even if she survived, it would have been pretty iffy, because she could have teleported back, but she wouldn't have any way of regaining life. I went ahead and killed with Lycoris using her AoE. That all of her stuff's on cooldown, but the main reason I did it was to put terrain here. So if Yulia does try to push forward, she does have Breeze. She'll move up and just take damage. If she takes enough damage, it will actually negate her self-reses. So at this point, I couldn't get in range to attack anything, so I was fine with that. My opponent moved forward and got hit with enough damage, so I went and just finished her off. And at this point, my opponent gave up. So yeah, a really kind of wacky battle. All my units got a kill. Every single one of them got at least one kill. Pretty impressive. So yeah, I do like the changes. Like I said, Rosenseal's really good, but all that means is she gets banned if my opponent is going to be going debuffs. And since I usually ban the debuffers anyway, there's no real reason to keep around Rosenseal. I guess my weakest healer right now is Sissy White, just simply because she's vulnerable to silence, and she also doesn't have her exclusive helmet yet, because it's not out yet. That helmet is going to make her even more viable than she is. Pretty much, she's always used in the Chinese servers with the exclusive helmet. It just gets you so many extra coins. In any case, like I said, I'm floating at 1530. I lost twice, which every loss is minus 15 points, so it brought me down to 1500, and then I managed to get the win there. Other than that, there's not really much else I've been planning. I unfortunately only got 9th place. My guild only got 9th place on the Dimensional Expedition, but we did actually we actually cleared the map, which is the first time we've done it, which is kind of nice. Besides that, there's not really much else to talk about. I think next week, or I think this upcoming Thursday might be the next update. Let me check. Yeah, usually it's based off how when this runs out. This Echo Light lasted an additional week, so yeah, we should be getting some new units soon. I think it's like Elma and then some other guy, I don't remember his name, who's going to be really annoying because he has a lot of wacky little passive mechanics. But in any case, I am the Depressed Healer. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 9. I'll see you guys later.